The China Bitcoin crypto pump narrative is heating up big time. This is something we've been talking about for a few weeks now, but really we're starting to see this spread out. And I want to share this chart with you to get started off with. This is from TED Talks Macro. He overlaid Chinese liquidity injections with the Bitcoin price chart. You can see the last time we had massive liquidity injections from China, what happened? We had the bull market. We had a massive, massive rally for Bitcoin from $3,000 up to $65,000. That's that China money, man. That's that China money. And this is at a time when China was much more crypto-phobic than they are currently seeming to become, which is very, very interesting. Now, of course, as we are seeing right here, huge amounts of Chinese liquidity coming in. Again, central banks over in China are printing like crazy. As Noodle of BINANCE points out, the China easing narrative is not some imaginary garbage. Look at the liquidity injections of China. They're ramping up big time. Hundreds of billions of yuan are happening. The money printer is going burr right now in the East. Just because Western economies are kind of moving a bit slower at the moment in terms of their economic and monetary easing policies, we're seeing Eastern economies, Japan and China in particular, dumping huge sums of money into the markets. We are seeing global liquidity on the rise. And when global liquidity rises, it tends to drag markets with it. We'll see, of course, if tensions in Ukraine and US markets and fears of US recession, all that stuff don't end up dragging markets down a bit. But these initial signs that we're seeing are very, very interesting. Also, a little interesting tidbit here for you. Expected GDP growth in 2023, Saudi Arabia 7.6%, India 6.8%, China 5.2%, EU 0.8%, and the USA 0.3%. The developing economies are raging. Look at this, China 5.2%. It's gonna be a big year for China. China, East Asia, they have the potential, even South Asia, of course, with India, they have the potential to really, really lead the markets here, right? So very, very interesting to see this big GDP growth predicted for these other areas, while the Western countries are going to be having perhaps a bit of a muted year in terms of growth. Now that China pump for crypto, the potential here is massive, right? We've all heard about like the Korean pump narrative, right? China's got way more money than South Korea, obviously, right? And if you see China coming back into crypto in a big way, the potential is insane. Obviously, it's a giant economy. We do have Hong Kong opening up for crypto right now, becoming much more crypto-friendly. We've seen a lot of stories coming out of there, new ETF products being launched. Singapore's biggest bank wanting to get a piece of the pie. Samsung looking to launch a Bitcoin spot ETF in Hong Kong. Hong Kong opening up for retail traders to be able to invest in things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is a big change, right? And yes, it's under the two systems, one country policy, so it doesn't necessarily mean that truckloads of mainland money is going to flow into Hong Kong, but it probably does, right? There are plenty of ways for mainland money to get into Hong Kong, right? And China loves crypto. This is the thing. If you haven't been around for a while, China is a massive, massive crypto market. The Chinese have been some of the earliest and hardest adopters of crypto. They've been some of the biggest supporters of crypto, which is why it's so sad that their government has been screwing them for such a long time on this situation, right? China has been one of the biggest Bitcoin miner countries for basically ever. Okay, last year in 2021 or in 2022, things didn't go that well, right? But anyway, for the most part, Chinese miners have been a big deal. One of the biggest producers of mining ASIC machines. The biggest exchanges have come out of China. Huobi, Gate, Binance, most of the exchanges that we trade on came out of China, all the quote-unquote offshore exchanges, right? So yeah, not stuff like Coinbase or Kraken, right? But a lot of the world's biggest exchanges have come out of China. And of course, we have the Chinese central bank printing money hardcore right now. So all this kind of lines up for that China pump narrative to actually have a bit of legs, right? We also have Hong Kong setting up a task force to develop basically the country as a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency hub. Again, that makes Hong Kong China's window on the crypto world, China's gateway to flood trillions of dollars potentially into the cryptocurrency markets. And we have these big announcements from companies like Tencent that they're partnering up with all these different cryptocurrency companies like Multiverse X and Anchor and stuff like that. Chinese money, Chinese companies, everybody's looking at crypto. They understand what's going on. They want a piece of it. And the government seems to be chilling out a little bit, because this is the real game changer I want to share with you today. Hong Kong's crypto hub ambitions win quiet backing from Beijing. That is massive. That is massive, 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 because it means that the mainland, that Beijing, which is where all the heavy crypto regulations come from previously, is kind of quietly saying, you know what, guys, you can start doing the crypto thing again over in Hong Kong. That is game-changing in its potential, because it means that we are seeing at an official level from Beijing a softening towards crypto, which could bring everything we just talked about really to the forefront, that we could see a huge crypto pump narrative building up from the East, right? With countries like South Korea and Japan, and of course, most critically, China, really getting big time back into the crypto space and bringing their money with them, pumping up Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that kind of stuff. So this is absolutely big and something very much to be keeping an eye on. It's not just China though, mostly China, of course, but this also interesting story I want to share with you before we look at the charts is Germany's second largest bank, DZ, to offer Bitcoin and crypto to their institutional clients. We keep seeing those kind of stories come in from around the world too. So the China narrative, it is one that can absolutely change the dynamics for markets in 2023. So it's absolutely massive. Definitely something we're going to keep talking about here as we see more of these stories coming out. But other countries are doing stuff too, man. So that's something to keep in mind. By the way, if you are a cryptocurrency trader, then you need yourself an account over on BYBIT. It is the best place for trading crypto futures. They have huge and very popular spot markets as well. Great fee discounts. And if you use that link down below to start your trading account, you're not only going to join over 10 million other traders on BYBIT, but you're also going to be eligible for up to $30,000 freaking dollars in deposit bonuses. So use that link down below in the description to start your account and get started. Now let's talk about Bitcoin real quick here. Bitcoin, as we saw, got rejected at the $25,200 mark 3 times. We have seen a slight recovery in the last 24 hours or so. But we did come right back down, test some of these key areas of previous resistance into price support around $23,500. The tough thing for us now, of course, is going to be to stay ideally above this area right here, which is around $21,500. You would not want to see the price closing under there, otherwise could cause a bit of chaos here for Bitcoin. But we are right now in this very, very, very critical zone. You see, we have now twice on the weekly tested the 200-week simple moving average. That's the line we really want to see Bitcoin closing over. We want a good, strong, fat green candle to close right over that 200-week simple moving average. That would really be a signal to the markets that, yeah, you know what, 2023 could be a very exciting year for the cryptocurrency markets, that this rally might have the legs that a lot of people think that it has. Until we get over the 200-week though, you know, let's just be excited, cautiously optimistic, right? I'm definitely excited about the China narrative and the potential that has for markets, but we do need to see follow through, of course, on the price action, and for us to stop seeing these rejections right here. Otherwise, everything just becomes basically a big old failed test, right? We want to see a successful test and break over this 200-week simple moving average. That is the real big line to keep an eye on right now, in my opinion. So that is something we're going to continue to be talking about, and I'll continue to update you on as we see continued attempts to break over that line being made. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. See you next time.